There are 5 levels to losing belly fat. Most men think they're doing the right things, but they're actually stuck at level 2 or level 3 without actually realizing it. Doing enough to feel like it should be working, but it's not. And if you don't move up these levels, you will stay stuck or worse, rebound. So I'll break down all 5 levels so you can see exactly where you're at, why you're stuck, and what needs to happen for you to lose belly fat and finally get lean. Most guys start here at level 1, just like Healthy Harry, an executive in his 40s sitting around at 30% body fat. So he cleans up his diet, swaps his burrito or a burger for lunch to a chicken salad, but it's loaded with avocado and nuts and dressings. He switches to black coffee, maybe even throws some butter in it. He goes from eating cereal or croissants to having a bowl of healthy granola with Greek yogurt. Starts drinking low-carb beers instead of the normal ones. And he gets back into the gym, maybe jumps on the bike a few times a week to sweat it out. In his head, it makes perfect sense. I'm eating clean, I'm moving more, this should be working, I should be losing fat every day. And to be fair, at the start, he does. He drops 5 to 10 pounds pretty quick. Carbs come down, the water drops, there's less food in his system, so the scale's moving pretty fast. There's less bloating, he just feels lighter and does better about himself. So he thinks he's on the right track and he's crushing it. But then things slow down. The hunger starts creeping in and he starts to sneakily add in snacks at night, a handful of nuts, a protein bar, a bit of extra dinner, still healthy foods, but the scale stops moving. And now he's thinking, I'm eating healthy, how is this not working? And this is where most guys get confused because from the outside, it looks like a solid plan. He's not smashing fried foods or ice creams every day, but here's the problem. Healthy Harry's approach isn't putting him into a consistent calorie deficit. He's just changed the types of food he eats without knowing actually what he's eating. And a lot of these healthy foods are still very high in calories. So he's really just winging it. Even though it feels like a diet across the day and the week, he's often just eating in his maintenance range or potentially above it when he doesn't know. And that is why the scale will stall after that 10-pound mark, maybe 15 to 20 if he's starting above 30% body fat. So it's not because his metabolism has just crashed after 40, but it's the healthy eating without a structure, which doesn't guarantee fat loss ongoing to reach those leaner levels. So level 1 works, but it won't take you all the way to a lean, muscle toned physique. And this is where most guys fall into the next trap in level 2. Meet all or nothing Nathan. He's done level 1 with the Healthy Harry approach, but now he's more serious because last time didn't work. So this time he's gonna lock in properly. So he starts training 4 or 5 days a week, hitting whatever muscle isn't sore, but not actually tracking it properly. Maybe he adds some extra cardio on top after his workout. He's just trying to outwork the problem. And during the week, he's pretty strict on food. Chicken salads, veggies, eggs, tuna and beans, salmon and sweet potato. No excessive snacking and no alcohol from Monday to Friday, or he may even try to cut it out completely. On weekends, he dedicates a couple hours to long walks, maybe going for a hike, and also trying to get the missus on board with it so that she won't tempt him with food or wines. In his head, it's simple. I just need to be more disciplined this time. If I go hard for 3 months, I'll be sweet. And again, at the start, this works. The scale starts dropping, he feels more in control, he's more structured with his training and what he's eating, and it feels like he's doing it properly. So the first 10 pounds drop quick, the next 10 pounds come off as well, faster than Healthy Harry, but then life slaps. Work drinks, business dinners, travel conferences, hectic, stressful weeks, or you might catch a bad flu, pulls a muscle in the gym, can't train for weeks. Then things just start to loosen up a little bit. And the whole I'll restart on Monday mentality sets in. And before we realize it, he's eaten back everything he lost during the week that's gone by. He's thinking,
How the fuck can I be working this hard at it? And his belly changed.
So now he's stuck waiting for the right time to go hard again. And this is the trap because Nathan believes if he can't go all in, then there's kind of no point at all. And this is exactly why he stays stuck. Because even professional athletes can't go hard all the time, constantly, week after week, year after year. Everyone has distractions and curveballs in life. And even if he gets results fast, he will lose them faster. like yo-yoing year after year, but that's not the only problem. Because while going hard, he was still guessing his portions, guessing his calorie burn, and massively overestimating how much he was probably burning in his workouts and cardio. He wasn't taking progress photos. He was only weighing himself once a week, expecting a big drop every time. So even though some days he felt starved all day and exhausted, across the entire week, he's just drifting in and out of maintenance without knowing. And hence, nothing is really changing after the 20 to 25 pound mark of fat loss. Because getting lean isn't just about being starved and exhausted every day. It's about actually staying in a deficit across the whole week. But the stricter Nathan tries to be, the more it blows up in his face. Almost like gambling. You win during the week, you lose it on the weekend. And this is why guys that are over 30 and over 40 get stuck here for years. Trying harder every time, but never actually fixing the structure that should be there underneath it. Eventually, some guys realize this approach ain't working and they start looking for a better way. And that is what pushes them into level 3. Now, this is where some guys try to fix the problem properly. Meet PT Pete. Pete has already tried doing it himself. He's tried going all in like Nathan, and that didn't work. So now he decides to outsource it. This feels like the missing piece. He's obviously not a personal trainer, so he hires one. He gets put on a bodybuilder style split, chest day, back day, arm day, lots of ab circuits and HIIT cardio, even though he just wants to lose his gut, and maybe he's given some generic bro style meal plan to follow that doesn't really fit with his family dinners or outings. He's probably been told to take a bunch of supplements that he's never heard of, hoping they're gonna have some magical effect. And he's thinking, if I just have someone there to make sure I show up, I will finally get the result. So now things feel more dialed in. He's more confident. He's training 3 days a week, maybe 2 or 3 of those sessions with a trainer, and doing 1 to 2 sessions on his own. He's following more progressive workouts instead of just guessing and showing up and lifting whatever machine is free. And he's trying to stick to the meal plan during the week. It's not a bad approach. It's gonna work. He loses some weight, drops 1 to 2 jean sizes, gets a bit fitter, a bit stronger, and he's finally doing things properly. People are asking,
Hey Pete, have you lost weight?
so now he feels like it's really working and he's finally cracked it. But after a few months, something isn't adding up. The scale is down, but when he looks in the mirror, he still has the soft belly, the hips, and the chest. And now he's thinking,
I'm doing everything right. Why aren't I looking as lean as I should be?
and this is where the problem can start to escalate. Pete isn't shooting in the dark anymore, but he's following a plan that works really well on paper for a young dude with no kid, no responsibilities, and a lot of time, but not for his actual life. And the meals don't match how he would normally eat. So he's having to eat separate dinners from his family, or trying to avoid work lunches and not have some of Karen's donuts or whatever. And it's just making things more and more complicated than they need to be. And the training works when the trainer is there, but if he misses a few sessions or the trainer is away, everything starts to slip away. And so outside of those few sessions with the trainer, there's no accountability. His friends, his wife, his colleagues, they don't really care. And as soon as he goes on a holiday, no trainer, no structure, it all falls apart fast because he's relying on being told what to do instead of being the CEO of his own system. So when things stop working or life gets busy and he doesn't know how to adjust it. And most trainers just want him to keep showing up week after week without really fixing the real problem because they get paid no matter what happens. So Pete eventually gets the shits because now he's put in more effort and still doesn't have the lean physique that he probably had in his 20s or his teens. And he's starting to think, maybe this is just not possible for me. And this is exactly why guys eventually burn out in level 3. Not because the approach doesn't work, but because it's held together with too many moving parts and no stable system underneath. It's not adaptable to a realistic lifestyle for someone who's working 40, 50, maybe even 60 hours a week. And if you're watching this and you're thinking that you're somewhere between this level 2 and 3, already training and dieting but still stuck, that is exactly the type of guy that fits like a glove into my system. To learn more how that works, tap the link below this video. However, the guys who are curious and keep seeking a better way eventually find their way into level 4. but most guys never make it here. Now here's where things start to get more serious. Meet obsessive Oscar. Oscar's already experienced level 3, done the trainers, the meal plans, the apps, the trial and error, and now he realizes there's a deeper level to this game. So instead of going hard or blindly following a set plan that looks great, he starts tracking everything: food, calories, body weight, workout, steps. Everything goes into an app or a sheet or whatever he's doing. He might even get a DEXA scan, wear an Oura Ring or a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, whatever it is, and he starts looking at all the numbers, and for the first time, things are starting to make sense. Because now he can see what is actually happening. Fat loss becomes more consistent, and he starts leaning out properly and breaks through the plateaus from being stuck in the past. And this is usually where guys think, all right, I've cracked it now. But similar problems arise when he stalls in that 18 to 22% body fat range. He's thinking, I'm tracking everything, this should be working, how am I still not seeing my abs, and why do I still have fat around the midsection? And it gets really frustrating because he can solve complex problems at work all day, but he can't solve the problem of his own body shape. But he still doesn't have the full picture because he doesn't know what will actually move the needle for sure in a sustainable way. The food tracking isn't always as accurate as he thinks. The calorie burn numbers are not exact or equal to the food that he's eating. And more importantly, he doesn't know how to adjust these things properly based on what the data is saying. So he's still progressing, just not clearly in a way that he can see week to week that is assuring. So again, he starts to second guess everything, either by dropping calories too hard or adding too much cardio, and just spins his wheel trying random tweaks that don't really make sense. And over time, this just wears him down. The tracking gives him awareness, but awareness alone doesn't actually fix a problem. And without clear direction, it's going to feel like a grind and easy to quit. And this is where most guys realize that effort alone isn't the problem anymore. Eventually, one of two things happen. At this point, he's already spent months, sometimes years, trying to figure all this out on his own. So he either burns out, stops tracking, and just settles for being around that 20% body fat where, the face, shoulders, and arms and chest look okay, but there's still, a bit of a pouch covering the belly and the abs. Or he convinces himself, this is just as lean as I'm ever going to get. And this is where most guys just stagnate, slowly drift off, yet they're closer than they've ever been to getting lean. And that is what makes this frustrating. But they don't have the system that tells them exactly what to change, when to change it, and that is what's going to separate guys who are in level 4 to getting to level 5. Now this is where everything finally starts to click. Level 5, meet systemized Sam. Sam has already been through level 4. He's tracked everything, put in the effort, and he's got very close, maybe gained it back, but he's realized that more data tracking everything randomly wasn't solving the problem. What he was missing, again, was a system. So instead of trying to do more or be more strict, he just simplifies things. His food becomes structured, but easy to repeat. He's not eating something different every single meal every day. It's the same few meals that he knows works for sure, and it's easy for him to tweak them, fitting in with his work and family schedule. It's also easy to track and adjust ongoing. So his training is simple. He's training just 3 sessions a week, focused on progressing the core lifts for strength and muscle mass. He's not winging it. He's not overcooking himself. He's following a plan that moves forward over time. And he can also adapt his nutrition and his training to fit when he has to go travel, or if there's just been a random schedule shift, he doesn't stress about it. The biggest shift is his calorie deficit management. He's not starving himself to try and speed this up. He knows where his intake needs to be to shed fat, and he adjusts it based on what is actually happening in real life. Not how do I feel today and what is my motivation levels at. So when life happens, which it always does, nothing actually falls apart. Dinner out, business lunch, travel, he just adjusts it instead of falling off the wagon and trying to be perfect. And this is the difference because now he's in control of the fat loss process, even when life can be super stressful and tough. Now it's consistent and sustainable. So there's no need to rush things anymore because he knows it's going to work. And he just needs to maintain it for a week or two if he's away on a holiday, super busy, or maybe gets ill. It's just all part of the plan. As a result, he moves from 20% down to 15, down to 13, down to 12, maybe even 10, and he does it in phases. And because the way he did it was sustainable, he knows how to stay there. Without rebounding, without starting over and I'll do it next month or next January, that's all gone. And the biggest shift isn't just what he's doing, it's now how he makes decisions. He's just running the system when things aren't perfect. And this is what most guys miss, that the discipline is a side effect of having the right system, because discipline with the wrong system is never going to work long term anyway. So when the system's dialed in, it's easier to follow, and then you actually enjoy the process. You want to do it. You're not wasting time guessing and stressing or blowing energy on it. Everything you do has a purpose, and you can see the impact of it. And once that system is in place, getting lean stops feeling like a grind into infinity. It starts running in the background like a system. And that is exactly what I help men build in my metabolic recomp method. If you're already training and you're trying, but you're still stuck in that 20% body fat range or above, and you want to fix this properly by installing a system that actually fits your lifestyle, the link is below the video to get the details. I only work with a small number of guys at a time. So if you are serious about getting this handled properly, that's where to go. Then go watch this video next, where I'll show you what men's body fat percentages actually look like on this journey to getting ripped. Watch this video next.